you can't get, you know, win drunk, you know, and we got a tough challenge this week, so we got to enjoy it today and get back on the horse next week.
Win drunk. Not a phrase you've heard often here in Jacksonville. Welcome into Teal, the show. The Jaguars finally have ended the drought. The entire month of October filled with nothing but losses, but you flip the page to November, and boom, just like that, the Jaguars get a win. And they did it in dramatic fashion. Early in the game against the Raiders, the team down 17 points. Nobody was feeling good about the direction that game was heading, except for maybe some of the players on the Jaguars sideline.
When we were down 17-0, I knew we were winning the game. Because the weeks before we were up, and it was kind of like, you know, playing from behind, I think, is easier than playing from ahead in this league. I really do, because, you know, every player, every coach in this league has pride in performance, and you know when you go down, it's like, okay, we're going to give them our best shot now, and we knew. I kind of knew, and I always try to just keep everyone up on the sideline, because there's going to be ebbs and flows. It's like you really you can't ride the roller coaster of emotion. You got to stay level-headed, and that's really just what I tried to convey to everybody, and it obviously paid off.
Well, it turns out he was right. The Jaguars finally getting that third win of the season that they've been chasing for a while, so that makes this Victory Monday. The Jaguars are now 3-6, and they're looking forward to the final 8 games of the season and looking at it as a fresh start.
You know, if you break the season up into quarters, right? We were 2-2 in the first, and then we sputtered 0-4 in the next, and you know, now you're sitting here kind of 1-0 at the beginning of the next kind of the third quarter, and you know, and you just have to kind of approach it that way and kind of attack your season that way. Great opponent this week, you know, and the Chiefs are one of the best teams in not only the NFL but in the AFC, and you know, we've got to just have a great week of preparation and, you know, not worry about what we've done, but focus on what we can do.
If the Jaguars are going to have a better record in this final stretch of the season than they've had in the early half, they're going to have to be able to string together some wins. This is the kind of win that maybe can be a spark for a young team and help them to find some success late in the year.
I mean, it can be. You hope it is. But it's up to the coaches and the players, you know, to just keep doing their job, keep working every day. You know, don't worry about the outside world and focus on our jobs and get ready for, you know, for another football game.
The main thing is you got to get one, you know, before you get two. So you know, we're doing the one foot forward approach. We have one, so it's time to focus on the next one, and that's all we're focused on.
If the Jaguars are going to get on a winning streak, they have a tough task this week as they head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Coming up after the break, when Teal the Show returns, we'll have 1010XL's Frank Frangie here as we'll break down what went right for the Jaguars and even peek ahead to next week's game against the Chiefs. That's coming up when Teal the Show returns. Welcome back into Teal the Show. We've now got 1010XL's Frank Frangie here. Frank, it's been a long time since the Jaguars got a win. The entire month of October filled with losses, but you turn the page to November and boom, just like that, another W.
You know, it's funny. The month changed, but the team never really did, Jamal. They kept playing tough-nosed games against teams. They stayed close. And you kept thinking if you stay close long enough, you're going to break through. And I think ultimately that's what happened. They stayed close long enough and they broke through. The odd thing is they've dominated so many teams in the first quarter and lost the game, including the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the one game they got dominated in the first quarter and they wound up winning the game. So it was odd, but I'm telling you, we kept saying it, everybody was saying it, if you play enough games close, you play enough close games, you're going to win a few of them. You have to learn to finish. Learning to finish means making a play toward the end of the game, and that's what they did.
Well, they've figured out how to finish this go-around, but now they have to figure out how to finish consistently because it can't just be a one-off. It's Victory Monday, so we're going to, you know, err on the side of hope. Frank, there's some parallels between what this team is seeing and what a team back in 1996 for the Jaguars saw. Both teams started the year 3-6. That Jaguars team in 96 gets hot down the stretch, finishes the year 9-7, goes into the playoffs. Next thing you know, they were in the conference championship game, one game away from the Super Bowl. I know that's lofty expectations, but this is the same team, 3-6. You know, they just had a big comeback win over the Raiders. You know what spurred the run late in the season for the Jaguars in 1996? A comeback win over the Baltimore Ravens. And that win is now the third biggest comeback in franchise history, only because this Raiders comeback became the second.
You're reaching, but I love reaching. I'm all about reaching. I think reaching is fantastic. Yeah, I remember that game. I remember that season. I remember every game, Jamal. Now, look, you needed some lucky things to happen. You needed one of the best kickers in the NFL history to miss a field goal late in the game, in the final game that got him into the playoffs. But yeah, there are some similarities. You knew that was a pretty good team, even though it was only his second year of existence. I was at every game. I was at every game, including all the playoff games. You knew it was a pretty good team. You knew there was something there. You didn't know when it would happen for him. Your young quarterback, Mark Brunell, then was starting to emerge as the season went on. You knew you had weapons. You had an explosive running back. Back then, Natron Means, not Fred Taylor. He wasn't there yet. It was Natron Means who started playing better and better as the season went along, just like Travis Etienne is. There are some similarities. The main similarity, a really well-coached football team, a tough-nosed football team, and a close football team. That was a close-knit group, and this is too. So, yeah, we're probably reaching a little bit with the comparisons, but I like it. I'm all about reaching, so wouldn't that be great?
Hey, reaching a little bit is okay this time of year. I mean, the team's 3-6. We got to look for something to, keep everyone's spirits high. One of the things that a lot of folks kind of noticed from Sunday's game, Frank, Buster Brown getting his first NFL action at corner, switching off a little bit with Trey Herndon. It sounds like they were kind of happy with some of what they saw from Buster, but wanted him to learn from that tape. Do you think this is just them wanting to see what they have in some of these young players? Have we already reached that point in the season?
I think that's part of it, Jamal. You always want to see what you have. They drafted Buster Brown. They like him. I think they know long-term Trey Herndon's not the guy to start. Right now what they're doing is Darius Williams and Tyson Campbell, as you know, start in base. And then when they go nickel, they bring in Trey Herndon, and Darius moves inside, so Trey plays outside. In this game against the Raiders, about half the time they brought in Trey, and the other half the time they brought in Buster Brown. I think they're trying to see what they have, but I think they know they've got to upgrade that cornerback spot. They know that. So step one is let's see if Brown's the guy. I'll tell you this, Doug Peterson's been very honest. He said after the game, look, when you put a staff together, when you put a team together, you have vision on how the thing's going to work. Well, as the season goes along, you may have to change some things. I thought they played far more zone defense in this game than they had been playing. I think they realize their personnel now fits zone more than it fits man-to-man, so I think you're going to keep seeing that. I think Mike Caldwell, a first-time coordinator, is feeling his way a little bit. You're seeing Smoot and Arden Key play outside now. They had been playing inside. So I think part of what's going on, Jamal, is Doug Peterson and Mike Caldwell are trying to figure out what's going to work. What they did earlier wasn't working as well, so let's change it up a little bit. That includes more zone. That includes Smoot and Arden Key playing outside some. It also includes Buster Brown getting some reps in place of Trey Herndon. So I think all those things together, I don't think the experiment's over, by the way. I think they're going to keep trying to find ways to be better defensively, to get off the field better than they were earlier in the season. So I think the experimentation will continue to a point.
You mentioned one of the guys that I think we need to talk about and give some love to, Dawon Smoot. He is so underappreciated. He had a huge game for the Jaguars against the Raiders, and he's just been Mr. Consistency for this team, but he looks like he's on the way to having a career year.
Jamal, right now, he's the best pass rusher. Right now, he's the best pass rusher. He may not be as talented as Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, who's going to be very good in time, but right now, he's their best pass rusher. He's got a great motor. This guy never quits trying. He never quits grinding. A lot of us want to, and that doesn't mean that Josh and Trayvon aren't playing hard. They're playing very hard. But sometimes you have to know how to use that motor. Right now, Dawon Smoot is their best pass rusher. He's the guy you have to concern yourself with the most. So I agree with you. I think their teams are going to start paying attention to him. And if they pay more attention to him, what does that do for some of the other guys? I still think you're going to see more experimentation. I'm not completely convinced that Trayvon Walker's an outside linebacker. Just like Smoot moved outside, you're seeing Trayvon with his hand on the ground more now than you have in the past. I think you're going to start seeing a little bit more of that. Again, he's a young guy. He just got here from Georgia. What is Trayvon Walker's best position? They're still trying to figure that out. But you're right. Dawon Smoot right now is their best pass rusher, and he's got to be in the game a bunch.
All right, Frank, on the other side of the ball, Trevor Lawrence, a very clean day, a very good day out on the field. Can this be a confidence builder for the quarterback moving forward?
No question. There's no question in my mind that Trevor is now going to start moving forward. Look, I thought the interception in London against the Broncos was kind of maybe the last time. See, Trevor knew the play, Jamal. The play was roll out, hit Kirk at the pylon, or throw the ball away. There was only one read on the play. But he's been so effective his whole life in doing things that people say you can't do. He's so athletic. He's got such a big arm that he's been able to fit balls in even though you're not supposed to. I think maybe the last time he needed to see that it doesn't work like that in the NFL, that you have to do the play the way or run the play the way it's drawn up. don't do extra stuff, was that interception in London. I think that'll be a turning point. Now, it hurt him in the game. He didn't play well after that game. I thought he was tentative or after that play. But this game, he was loose. He played free and easy. I thought he was decisive. I thought he played fast. I'm not saying Trevor's not going to have some ups and downs. Young players, Jamal, have ups and downs. They're going to keep doing that. But I think there's going to be more ups and downs. I think that will be a turning point of sorts for him. I really do.
All right, Frank, last question for you. Let's peek ahead a little bit. The Chiefs coming this week. The Jaguars have to travel out there to Kansas City, and Doug Peterson gets to match up with his mentor of sorts. He played for Andy Reid, coached under Andy Reid. This is a tough game.
Yeah, this is going to be the toughest game of the year. We knew at the beginning of the year, Jamal, this would be the toughest game of the year. No, there was no debating that. The fact is, the Kansas City Chiefs are one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league. They're probably a little salty because even though they won on Sunday night, they were doubted. They battled. They had to scramble from behind to win that game. This is a tough game. The Jags are a 10-point underdog. This is the hardest game of the year. Of all the games, and we knew this before the season, the good thing is the Jags are playing a little bit better now. This is a better Jaguar team than even 3 weeks ago. So you always have a chance in the NFL. They're a tough-nosed team, but let's not kid ourselves. The Kansas City Chiefs playing at home are one of the toughest teams in not only the NFL this year, but in the last 4 or 5 years. Tough challenge for Jacksonville this week, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it should be a very interesting game. We'll talk more about that on Teal the Show on Friday. Frank, thanks for being here, and thank you at home for tuning in. We'll see you on Friday night. Good night, and go Jags.